Hola, hola. This is your boy Tico Trent, aka the Internal Sadist. And this is going to be a podcast for today on Memorial Day. And I'm going to talk about my thoughts on politics, religion, and parenting. Um, the only reason why this parenting topic is coming up because a post on a social media blew up with a mom having a nervous breakdown over having to actually, homeschool her children and shit like that. And this is basically what we're running to these days for the most part. And the sad part about that is we have a bunch of people who call themselves parents who can't handle the job of actually being frickin' parents. So they lash out or go on social media to get you know validation in their emotions on how on the things that's going on and how they're raising their children and stuff like that. When in fact it's your children. At the end of the day, it's your children. You chose to have those children. You can't be sitting here throwing a fit about having to raise your own damn children or having to educate your own children. It's just facts. And that type of shit actually bothers me when I see people do that shit, especially women, because in all technicality, what we technically are displaying as parents is well, how I see it is you can't handle your own damn children. You can't handle the damn job. You knew the job was crooked and heavy when you took it. You knew the load was going to be a heavy load when you took it. Me being a parent, I know this shit. I don't get stressed out about my children or having to raise my children or having my children have to go to be homeschooled or they call it virtual schooling now. I'm not stressed out about it in the least bit. I know that my children have to do this. I'm still willing to help my children with their homework. I don't get stressed out about helping my children with their homework, because at the end of the day, they're my children. I helped bring them into this world. So there should be no reason in hell for a woman to be all stressed out about, having to do homeschooling with her fucking children. It's just facts. That's just bullshit. That's a cop out. Just say you don't want to be a fucking parent. That's all it is. You suck as a parent. End of story. If you can't stand it, he get the fuck out the kitchen or get a nanny, basically. And it's just shit like that that just blows my mind as a parent to watch other people want to sit here and co-sign on her fucking poor behavior as a fucking parent. Your job is to be the rock for your children and be steadfast and strong for your children. This type of shit is unnecessary. So for you to actually sit up here and cry and complain about, having to actually educate your children, it's some bullshit. It's some purity bullshit, basically. And I can't stand people who do this shit and they look for sympathy for something that you helped create. That'd be like me looking for sympathy because I'm black or something like that. I know there's shit that comes with this skin color, so therefore it doesn't really matter. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you chose to be that parent. You chose to be that parent. And the sad part about that is what a lot of people are missing or not understanding about being a parent is parenting is hard. And they think it's just easy task to do. And the sad part about it is parenting isn't for everyone. At the end of the day, parenting isn't for everyone at all in the least bit. And it's not something you should be taking lightly for the most part. It's something that you should take very seriously and not sit up here and act like it's a fucking thing that you can just do with such carte blanche. Because at the end of the day, like I said, parenting isn't for everyone. It's basically like any job. Parenting isn't for everyone at all. And it's the sad part about that. And I'm sitting here reading all this stuff and I'm reading this woman's post and I actually commend the people who actually spoke up and actually said, it's your fucking kids. What do you expect? I actually commend those people because at the end of the day, it is her kids. You chose to have that many kids. You got to deal with the repercussions and consequences of having that many kids. You don't get a break from parenting. You're going to be a parent 24 fucking 7. If your child is sick, you got to be a parent. If something happens with your child, they got a broken leg, you got to be a fucking parent. It's just facts. So I get tired of hearing all this bullshit when people are sitting up here complaining about like having to homeschool their children or having to educate their children or having to be there for their children. Like, dude, are you serious? It's your fucking job as a parent. It's not something that you could just get out of, like, no fault divorce. Basically, you can't get. There's no such thing as no fault parenting. And the sad part about that is, at the end of the day, you can't divorce your children. You can do it. I mean, you can somewhat do it, but there'll be some repercussions and consequences for your actions if you try to do some shit like that. And it's just facts. So I'm gonna need all these people to miss me with this bullshit when it comes to their fucking children, and how they complain about having to educate their children, how they're complaining about having to be at home with their children and shit like that. They're your fucking children at the end of the day. They're nobody else's children but your own, and maybe the person you had them with, if that's actually the parent of your child. Because in this day and age, Lord knows, with a lot of these women running around, if they're actually if the father's the actual father of the children, basically. We glorify shit like doing the Maury show, where you got women, you know, parading out multiple men that could possibly be the baby father and shit for attention. It's just, I mean, any type of normally shit like that would be embarrassing to do, but women do this shit on a regular basis on the Maury show, or all these other show, or you are not the father, and it's like those are the most popular segments. So that lets you know how much the Western world has devolved into debauchery and stupidity for the most part. When you could actually parade out a bunch of men, talk about you are the father, you are not the father, you are not the father, you are the father. That's basically what that is for the most part. That's just nothing but debauchery and stupidity. So I can't stand people who want to sit up here and cry about having to take care of their own children, or have nervous breakdowns about taking care of their own children. Yeah, they're your children. Just because you can get divorced very easily and take half the shit, there's still the fact that you still have children, and you still got to actually raise them and deal with them for the most part. There's no getting out of raising your children unless you want legal ramifications and consequences for your actions and trying to get out of raising your own damn children. It's just facts. And this type of shit actually pisses me off when I hear people always want to go on social media to get praise for something that they're failing at. It's like, why are we praising the failures? Why are we praising the mentally unstable when it comes to parenting? I look at it like this: if you're gonna have a nervous breakdown about helping or raising or doing anything with your fucking children, then you don't deserve to have children. It's just facts. And the sad part about that is we live in a society where we allow women to do this with such carte blanche, or fucking such high regularity, where we it's just okay apparently for like women to complain about having to raise their own children. Really, queen? Really, queen? And that's exactly how I feel about it, because it's just total bullshit. Like, you made them, you got to raise them. This is not going to be easy, like getting a divorce from your significant other and taking half his shit or 75% of his shit. It's not going to happen like that for parenting. So I'm gonna need all the women and all the low budget parents to shut the fuck up about having to raise their children, or homeschool their children, or educate their children, and act like some fucking adults, and act like the people who actually wanted these children and brought them into the damn world. Because at the end of the day, parenting isn't easy in the least bit. I'm the first person to tell you that shit. The sad part about that is the people doing the parenting make it harder than it fucking needs to be, because they're fucking morons. They're fucking selfish. That's just fucking facts. And that type of shit just pisses me off when I hear stupid people on social media complaining about having to actually take care of their own fucking children, or saying that they should be paid for taking care of their own fucking children. Are you fucking serious? Or are you mentally unstable? And there's just shit like that just blows my mind as a parent. Like, no, dude, no. My children do homeschooling just like your children do homeschooling. My children do virtual schooling just like your children do virtual schooling. So I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up, suck it the fuck up, and act like a fucking grown ass adult. Period. That type of shit just pisses me off when I hear stupid ass people complaining about having to actually be parents. Dumb fucks. Another topic that I wanted to talk about is the politic landscape in the United States lately that's been going on with the how people are going to be voting. They're going to do mail-in votings, and this is why I'm actually pretty worried about Biden actually winning the votes. Because once you think about it, the people on the right that voted for Trump last time are probably not going to be able to mail in their voting voting registrations on time to actually be able to vote for the candidate that they want to vote for. Because a lot of the people on the right are older people or elder people basically that sometimes can't remember to do something or forget something and stuff like that, or don't have the means or don't have the necessary um don't have the necessary attention to detail that they need to actually be able to fill out their voting thing and mail it back in for the most part. So this is why this worries me when it comes to like the Democratic Party winning this election for the most part, because you have people that on the right that tend to that will normally vote for Trump that either a can't remember or that stuff's up their mind or they're so busy that they can't mail in their actual votes. And if that's the case, how we're going to be voting, then I think it's unfair for that reason. Because at the end of the day, the Democrats are literally doing this on purpose, so they could because they know that if they get out the vote by physically get out the vote, that they're going to take an L. If they do mail-in votes, there's a higher chance of them actually winning. It's just facts, and it goes to show you how carte blanche a lot of the Democrats are, especially with Joe Biden up there talking about like if you don't vote for me, then you're obviously not black. That right there lets me know that that's a motherfucker that already knows he gets the black vote, and he doesn't really need to say very much else. And the sad part about that, his policies has destroyed the black community more than any other. His policies that he actually co-signed on and actually passed and put forth destroyed the black community more than any other all the other sitting Republican presidents put the fuck together. Let that shit sink in. And I always found it funny how we can actually just say this shit. And the sad part about he can say this shit because he knows that the black voters are going to vote for him. So he doesn't have to even go and like rally in the black neighborhoods because he knows he already got the vote because Democrat basically. And the sad part about that, all he got to do is go rally and vote in the name of that the white neighborhoods basically because those are the votes that he really need right now because he already got the black vote on lock and he knows this. That's why he can say the shit that he said. If you don't vote for me, you're not black. Well, let's just take a look down history lane. If the Democrats are so great, then how come all the neighborhoods that are ran by Democrats are the most poorest, most wrecked, most have the most crimes, the most devastation, the most poverty, and are the most wrecked and hit when it comes down to it? It's not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrat running those neighborhoods that's basically keep you in that situation to make you need them for the most part. That's pretty much what it is. Every single Democratic neighborhood, every single fucking neighborhood ran, every single neighborhood, county, district, whatever the fuck, ran by Democrat is poor. Even the black ones are poor. I sit up here and watch school closings on a regular basis. We can't afford to keep this school open. Why can't you? Why can't you afford it? Well, that school was that school was poorly performing. It was the best school in the district. How the hell are you going to tell me that the school was poorly performing when you're going to close the best school in the school district? Think about that shit as a black person. Your best schools are closing down because they can't afford it, and it was performing poorly. And if you go look at the grade, the school grade on the fucking website for schools, it was the best performing school in your fucking school district, and the Democrats just close it, and they leave you with all the poor performing schools, all the dilapidated, poor performing schools. It kind of reminds me of, back in the day when you see all the pictures of the black people sitting in classes and they got old books, the old outdated books. They barely got a desk, and the books are just falling the fuck apart. The blackboard barely works, and it's just shit like that. That's what that kind of reminds me of. You're going to close the best performing school in the neighborhood because you can't afford it, and it's performing badly. Really, how do you do that? Like, explain to me how you actually came to that conclusion that that's the poorest performing school in the neighborhood, when in fact it's the best performing school in the black community. But they shut that school down. But they leave all the poor performing schools open till the end. And it's funny how I always notice that. Like a good example of that is a school in Pittsburgh known as Peabody High School. All the other schools around it were performing very well, but they shut down those schools and they left Peabody open. Peabody had like a 30% graduation rate, if that. Only what, like 30 odd percent of the kids actually graduated from Peabody High School. And you mean to tell me that's the best performing school in the district? How the fuck's that work? And it's just shit like this that just blows my mind. And it pisses me off when I hear black people say stupid shit or, well, obviously that school needed to be closed. No, that school did need to be closed. That school needed to be open. They needed to close the other dumbass school down the street from you that ain't doing shit with your children and turning out nothing. And it's shit like this that just blows my fucking mind when I hear and see this shit. Like, you mean to tell me that the Democrats are the best, but your neighborhood is in poverty? You mean to tell me that the Democrats are the best and you live in shit and squalor? You mean to tell me the Democrats are doing so much for your neighborhood, but you're living high crime ridden neighborhoods for the most part? If you're black and or white and you live in a poor poverty neighborhood, what that basically lets me know is they're basically setting you up to actually need them. So you're gonna be like, they're doing so much great stuff for me. They're basically giving you the bare minimum. They're giving you fucking table scraps. It'd be no different than them throwing you fucking the gizzards and shit like that for the most part, so you can actually make something out of yourself. They give you the bare minimum. They don't even give you the bare minimum. They give you shit basically, and they tell you to eat it. And your neighborhoods are so squalor, and your neighborhoods suffer, and there's constant crime. And it's the reason. And it's funny how we always talk about how the Democrats are doing so much great shit, but the cops have zero communication, and they have zero presence in a black neighborhood. But they're there for you, right? Democrats, right? Black people, yeah, they're there. They're basically there on purpose so they can actually the Democrats could basically control you and say, "See, you need us. You need us. If it wasn't for us, you have to worry about the police shootings. And every year, a black person dies from police shooting and police brutality and shit like that on a regular basis." I'm not talking about the shit that gets sensationalized on social media. I'm talking about shit actually happened where, like a good example of that is in the Hill District. There's a police station right there, smack dab in the middle of the Hill District. I watched a man actually get shot on the stairs of the fucking police station and not near a cop come out. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. How the fuck do you have a police station and zero cops come out to even investigate on the fucking stairs of the fucking police station? And sad part about that, many crimes have actually happened on the stairwell or right in front of that fucking police station, and conveniently they don't know how to solve the crime or they have no suspects. Conveniently, but black people think Democrats are for them. They close your schools. They close your great performing schools, but you think they're for you. They don't do nothing. They don't do nothing with your neighborhoods, but let them like just go down the fucking tubes and down the fucking drain. But you think they're here for you. How is that even a fucking thing? And you want to sit here and praise Democrats. Meanwhile, if you actually look at the shit that you actually got going on and the shit that you're going through, they're the ones destroying your fucking neighborhood. They're the reasons why your neighborhood's in a fucking squalor and in the bullshit that is going through. They're the reasons why your fucking great schools are fucking closed. They're the reasons why the poor performing schools are still open and the great performing schools are not even in your neighborhood anymore, or they get moved, or they get renamed something else to make it seem like it's even better than what it really was, when in fact it's not. And that's sad, watching black people fall for this okey doke year in and year out, day in and day out, 365, except 24/7, watching black people fall for the fucking okey doke over and over and over and over again. It'd be no different if I told you that I'm going to give you $100 a day, and I come in your house and just punch you dead in the fucking face every day instead of giving you $100 a day. That's literally what Democrats are doing to black people. We're going to give you this. They just come in your house and just punch the shit out of you every day. They can tell you that it was the establishment and the rich people and the Republicans that's punching you in the face. Meanwhile, this bitch is punching you dead in the fucking face, telling you that it's the Republicans' fault. That's literally what's happening, and that shit is annoying. That shit is annoying to annoying to no fucking end. Hey, Jaguar Media. And I can't understand why motherfuckers keep doing this shit and falling for this shit and going back and forth on this shit and always like, just falling for this shit. When in fact, if you ever notice, in all most of the Republican neighborhoods or the places where Republican governors and senators are running, they don't have this many problems like they do in the Democratic ran places. They don't have this many problems in a Democratic run. They don't have as much crime. They don't have as much fucking brutality or the cops actually get out and they actually talk to they actually engage the community in all these Republican ran counties and sectors and districts and shit like that. They actually get out and actually talk to people in the Republican ran ones. They actually have community unity and actually get out and actually do shit for the community. And they have the sad part about that, the difference between a black neighborhood and a white neighborhood ran by a Republican and a black neighborhood ran by a Democrat is I'm willing to bet you any money there hasn't been a Republic. I mean, there hasn't been a Democrat in a Democratic district. There hasn't been a cop that came out to actually talk to the community and do things for the community and actually engage the community and actually wave to you and actually get to know the fucking community in a Democratic district because that's not what it's set up for. At the end of the day, the Democratic Party was the party of the KKK. And people forget that. And a lot of police officers that were a part of that were actually that were quote unquote police officers were members of the KKK. It kind of reminds me of that one story where I read about a black kid. Instead of arresting the black kids and taking them in, these two cops literally put these two kids in the backseat of a car. This actually was a true story. When no one kid, I'm sorry, in the backseat of a car, and he dropped them off in a rival gang neighborhood just so he can get his ass whooped. After they don't whoop his ass, they dropped him off in a rival neighborhood so they can make it look like it was gang violence. And it's just shit like this that black people keep falling for. And it's the okey doke like this that black people keep falling for. And the sad part about that is, in the same token, another example of shit that always happens in black neighborhoods all the fucking time, still till this day, is all the black all the neighborhoods that have the black churches that conveniently catch on fire, the black historical churches, they're all in Democratic neighborhoods. They're all in Democratic districts. Don't nobody do nothing about it. They never really find the arson. The arson pretty much goes at large in a Democratic district. And they rebuild the shit just so it can only be burned down to the ground again and again and a fucking again. And you can't say this is history. This shit is actually happening right now, where black churches are actually being burned down to the ground till this day. But you want to vote Democrat when they don't do shit for you. Think about that shit. And this is the shit that blows my mind when it comes to black people, when it comes to, well, we got to support the Democrats because they're for us. No, they destroyed you and made you dependent. They made you dependent to them, basically. It'd be no different than getting shit ripped off of you all year in taxes and then filing for putting your dependence on your fucking tax form so you can get money back. Basically, that's what Democrats are doing to you. They rip you off all fucking year around and then collect on you. They collect on you financially and votes wise. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to put the money towards all the shit that you actually need in your neighborhood. They put that money right in their fucking pocket, or right in the people who scratch their palm. You scratch my hand, you scratch my hand, you scratch their hand. Basically, they basically put that shit in their pocket. What's up, Valhalla? So they're not all here to help you. They do the bare minimum for black people in their own communities, while they claim to actually help black communities. And the sad part about that is, while they're doing it, they're pointing at Republicans saying, "See, they won't give you the funding, but we will." But you're giving them you're giving black people fucking table scraps, like they're fucking animals and shit like that. This is the reason why they act like fucking animals, because you got them acting like fucking animals because you only give them table scraps. You got them running around looking like a bunch of rabid dogs and shit like that. And before anybody say anything fucking stupid, I'm a nigga. I watch this shit happen on a regular fucking basis, year in and year out. I've never seen so much disconnect and disillusioned people in my fucking life. And it's sickening and it's sad to watch black people get punched in the face day in and day out and day in and day out by their own fucking the Democratic Party on a regular basis. That shit is fucking annoying. It shouldn't even fucking happen. And quite frankly, your governors and senators should be fucking ashamed of themselves. And they shouldn't even be running for senator or governor anymore. Y'all shouldn't even be voting these motherfuckers in because they do the same shit on to you. They basically they put something in front of your face like a carrot, like the carrot in front of your face. Then when you about time you get to the carrot, they just punch you dead in the fucking face, and then they take away the carrot, and they do it to you repeatedly, and it's sickening watching this shit. And I don't care how many black people get mad about this shit. At the end of the day, it's fucking true because I watched so many fucking schools close down in black neighborhoods that were performing ridiculously well. And instead, you got to send your child to this poor performing school because we got to shut down this great performing school. And that's exactly how it always happens. Then we want to sit up here and say, the Democrats are for us, but they're shutting down your schools. They don't do the shit in white neighborhoods. They don't do the shit in white neighborhoods at all. All their good performing schools or mid-range performing schools are still fuck open. But your dumbass going to buy into this notion or some fucking pipe dream that they're closing down a poorly performing school when in fact it's the best performing school in your fucking neighborhood. And you buy that shit, hook, line, and sinker, and you eat that shit up like shit, like slop and shit like that. And you vote for these motherfuckers and put them in office and put them in power just so they can fuck your asses later. And that's all they're doing is just fucking you right in the ass. And it's just facts. And it's sickening watching a bunch of niggas just fall for shit. A bunch of stupid ass Jerry curl dripping niggas fall for the dumbest shit in the fucking world. Because that's basically the days that we're in. We're in the days of Jerry curl dripping niggas, basically. Now we're just only thing different is we're doing braids and cornrows and the dreads now. It's basically the same fucking thing. And the sad part about this, the Democrats basically keep you in bondage, keep you buying bullshit that you don't even fucking need. When you want to do better with yourself, they dangle Jordans in front of your fucking face, or they dangle gold and jewelry and Raptors and all this other bullshit in front of your face to basically take your money right out of you. So you can invest in this, so you can put your money in this bullshit. Because at the end of the day, the sad part about that is, believe it or not, majority of the buying power comes from the black neighborhood. You're like 12% of the population, but you're damn near majority of the fucking, you know, goods buying power for the most part. And it's sad watching this shit happen. Y'all would just buy any fucking thing if it sounds good, if it got a fucking rap star or a movie star, if it got a fucking NBA star or a sports star's name on it, and y'all just buy this shit right up. And y'all would pay like hundreds of dollars for some bullshit and that shit that was made in China for like $15-$20. And they know this, and they know you'll buy this stupid shit because you're fucking stupid and you buy into bullshit. And it's facts. It kind of reminds me of the one meme that I've seen with a bunch of rich white people. Black people think being rich and balling and having it all is buying rims and shoes and shit like that. Sad part about that is the difference between you and them is you have nothing to show for it. You have zero to show for it. All that money that you could have been, that you was invested in fucking Jordans, you could have been putting towards fucking stock market or bettering your children or putting up for money for your children to go to college and shit like that. All that hundreds and hundreds of dollars you dropped on Jordans, all them hundreds and hundreds of dollars you dropped on getting rims, all them hundreds and hundreds of dollars you dropped on getting gold and gold teeth or grills and stupid shit like that. For the most part, you could have been dropping on your fucking children for a better education in the future. It's facts and it's stupid. And I can't stand watching people do stupid shit on a regular band basis and just squandering shit. And it's sad watching black people do this shit on a regular basis, just giving their money to any fucking baddie and not keeping it in the community to better the community or better their own damn selves. And buying into the narrative that apparently the best school in your school district is performing the worst. How is that even a thing? If it's the best school in the school district, how is it performing the worst? And then when people start asking questions about it, they'll say, "Well, we can't afford to keep the doors open because renovations cost too much." Really, dude? That you gonna hit me with that okey doke now? And it's sad watching this shit, and it's sad. It's just sad as hell. And I can't stand watching people do stupid shit on a regular basis to basically try to come up or try to look cool or try to keep up with the Kardashians like they are, keep up with the Jeffersons or whatever you want to keep up with. And it's sad watching this shit happen on a regular basis. It's so fucking sad. Another thing that I actually wanted to touch on before I actually close out this live stream or this podcast is my thoughts on religion and do I believe religion is essential. This is coming from a person that's Catholic who always questioned Catholics or always piss off Catholics on a regular basis. Hell, I've been kicked out of many parishes so many times asking questions and shit like that. Do I believe religion is important? Yes. It don't matter what religion you are, religion is important. A religion is essential for the most part. Religion is very essential because religion is good for you psychologically because it gives you something to believe in. It gives you something to strive for and to believe in and look forward to for the most part. So psychologically, religion is very essential to human beings for that reason. Religion is what got black people through slavery. Religion is what gets people by or gets people through the day by believing that they're going through this hardship because your God, your Lord, your whatever you want to call them, basically, is putting you through this hardship so you can get a better reward on the other side. Without that reward or without that notion, without that believing that shit, there's no moral fabric anymore because religion is gone and you no longer have anything to look forward to, even in life and in death for the most part, when you start kicking religion to the side or kicking religion to the curb. The sad part about that is religion will make you do the most unbelievable shit. Religion will make you believe that you can actually make a change, make a change in people's lives and shit like that because you believe that you're doing it and it's God's work. Religion actually lifts people's spirits mentally, emotionally, and physically across the board better than anything else can possibly do it in this fucking world. Religion is essential because it's the core principles on which a lot of people stand on, despite the fact that they claim they don't. Even though they say separate, they pledge allegiance, and God's in that. If you go anywhere and you do the Star Spangled Banner or anything like that, basically, they talk about God. If you look at your fucking money, God is everywhere, basically. And it actually lifts your spirits. And it actually gives you a moral compass in which you can actually have a direction to do better with yourself. The sad part about that is in late in these last, what, few years, 20 years, people have been devolving into like ridiculousness for no fucking reason, all because they're trying to either kick religion to the side or act like religion didn't get them to the point that they are, or act like, shit like that. Religion actually uplifts the spirit. Religion actually keeps you going. Religion gives you the willpower to do all the shit that you need to do in your life or believe in all the shit that you want to do and want to accomplish in your fucking lives. After a football game is won, The first thing that come out of a player's mouth is, "I would like to thank God." When somebody wins the Olympic Games, first thing that come out of their mouth, no matter what country they come from, no matter what religious background or affiliation they come from, it always thanks to God, or wherever their God is. Let it be Allah, let it be Yahweh, let it be, all the above for the most part. It's always thanks to this, or thanks to this being, or thanks to this, you know, this person for the most part. Religion is the moral fiber that ties everything together in your life. Religion gives you the strength to believe, even in the times of darkness. Hell, religion's so strong, it helped during that Haitian earthquake. It helped Haitians live months in rubble after the fact of being buried in rubble. Months later, you're finding Haitians alive and shit, trapped in rubble and shit like that. That's how strong religion is. But we want to sit up here and pretend like it ain't nothing and it ain't important, when in fact it's gotten a lot of people from every walk of life through the most hardest times. Hell, if your family member dies, you what do you say? I'm gonna put my life, and I'm gonna just ask for the help of God and Jesus, basically, or whatever your religion is, respective religion is. You ask for that religion to basically, the heads of that religion to basically carry you through your time of need for the most part. It's just facts. Religion is very essential. Religion is very important. And the sad part about that, in this day and age, we've gotten so far from fucking religion, it's ridiculous. We got motherfucking women pushing whole entire bishops and pastors off the fucking stages to their death or to their injury. You got motherfuckers running up on pastors and smacking the shit out of them. Got no fucking respect, the least bit. You got people interrupting pastors, bishops, and priests, and you know, men from uh, uh, rabbis and all that from many walks of life and shit like that. Any religion, and let it be yogis, let it be. I can't think of all the people off all the different religions off the top of my head, because I'm doing this podcast basically from the heart or from the hip for the most part. So you get all these people from every walk of life, all these religious leaders that's being disrespected on a regular fucking basis. And it's disheartening and it's sickening watching that shit happen. But these are the same motherfuckers that want to claim that they're God's people. These are the same motherfuckers who can walk in church, look down their nose at somebody in church, and be like, "Praise God," and then walk out church and disrespect people and look down their nose at the person that probably is in need, which is sad. But they're God's children. As you disrespect your fellow man, that shit is sickening. I don't give a damn how you feel about it. It's sickening as hell, and it's sad. Y'all need to do some real soul searching and look into yourselves, to actually try to be your respective religion's children for the most part. Don't care what religion you are, you got to look into yourself to actually find out in yourself, to find out what you need to do to better yourself as a child of that religion. I digress.